Hey, everybody, Josh Peck here. Hope you are doing well. We're a little bit late to the game on this one, but still, it's really, really interesting. Have you heard about this apparently weapon? There's some mystery weapon that the U.S. has used, some powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees during the Maduro raid. There's like witness accounts of this. Very, very strange story. This is from the New York Post. Other outlets have reported on it as well. But let's talk about it. So it says the U.S. used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through the nose and vomiting blood during the daring raid to capture dictator Nicolas Maduro, according to a witness account posted on X by the White House press secretary. So, in a jaw dropping interview, the guard described how American forces wiped out hundreds of fighters without losing a single soldier, using technology unlike anything he has ever seen or heard. There's a quote. He said, quote, "We were on guard, but suddenly all our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react." There's a picture here of the attack. I really hate how New York Post, every time you scroll up just a little bit or scroll down, whatever, that thing comes up. It's really annoying. But anyway, there's there's a picture here, but it says the U.S. used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers. We just read that. But it says moments later, a handful of helicopters appeared, barely 8 by his count, deploying what he estimated were just 20 U.S. troops into the area. Only 20. That's not many. But those few men, he said, came armed with something far more powerful than guns. So he said, quote, "They were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we've fought against before." Very interesting. You know, we've talked about a lot on this channel how our country and probably countries all over the world, they probably do have weapons and technologies that we have no idea about. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. So I'm wondering what this was. But it says what ensued, he said, was not a battle but a slaughter. Ah, sorry, that banner is really annoying. He said, quote, "We were hundreds, but we had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed. It felt like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute," end quote. Then came the weapon that still haunts him. Quote, "At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, it felt like my head was exploding from the inside." Really interesting. You know what this sounds like? Have you guys ever heard of have you guys ever heard of the whole M cave conspiracy or I don't know, what would you legend, what would you call it? Modern legend, modern myth. Maybe it's true. Uh there was there was a YouTube channel about this guy. He would he'd go out in the desert and explore around and do these just normal kind of YouTube videos. Well, he said, I don't think he got a video of it, but in the comments, somewhere in the comments or something, or maybe he just talked about it. I can't really remember, but it was something like he found this cave that the mouth of the cave was shaped like the letter M, and he tried to go in, but when he went in, he felt all these really, really weird things, and he couldn't make it. He was having all of these physiological things, like, and it sounds really similar to this. And the weird part of that story was he said that he was going to go back to try to find it and actually film it the next time. And if I remember right, again, I might be crossing two different stories here, but if I remember right, I think he went out again and then disappeared and nobody could ever find him. And he was just gone. So very, very strange. But that sounds so similar to what was described in that story So it makes me wonder, what are these weapons? And what were they protecting in that cave? Now I know the whole M cave story is totally outside of what we're talking about today, but there is some commonality with this secret, I guess, secret technology. Um, we might have to bring in one of these days we'll have Tim Alberino back on, and maybe he knows about, because he knows this area a lot better, and some people have even said that there's similar threads to this in the whole face peeler story, which I actually have not interviewed Tim on that yet. But but a few days ago, a couple weeks ago, Tim was just texting me to see how I was doing with everything, and we just got to talk, and I said, hey, I'd love to have you back on Sharpening Report. He said he'd come on anytime. So the only reason I haven't had him back on yet is I'm waiting for the studio to be finished, because right now you can't hear it on your end, but right now the studio that I'm in is like really, really echoey. I have some good filters and things that can get rid of it in post, but it's a hassle. If I'm doing an interview, he'd probably have a really hard time hearing me or understanding me. But I'm getting soundproofing in this place soon. Plus, it'd be nice to have some kind of background that, the whole blue and cloud kind of color stuff looks interesting, but it probably should have something back there to look at, more than just looks like me podcasting from heaven, like I just got raptured or something. Like, kind of looks all cloudy and ethereal. Anyway, so we'll have Tim back on soon. So let's continue the story. First though, check out these messages.
Hey everyone. Concerning the economically unstable times that we live in, it is a great idea to convert some of your savings into real money. Now, there is a big difference between real money and what we call money, which is actually currency. So our dollar is currency, which fluctuates. Real money, like silver, is a store of value over time. The best way to think of it is like this. If you had saved $1,000 in cash back in the late 60s, the late 1960s, that $1,000 would still be $1,000 today, but it would buy you significantly less today due to inflation. Now, if you saved that same $1,000 in silver back in the 1960s, it would be around $28,000 today. So one of the best ways to protect your purchasing power is in real money, more specifically, silver. Now, you can buy and have the metal shipped discreetly to your door, and what most people don't know is that you can actually convert your IRA or even your 401k into physical silver rather than having all your life savings tied up in the paper fiat system, which is, of course, subject to hyperinflation. So go to dailyrenegade.com right now and click on the Cornerstone Asset Metals banner and sign up to get your free silver report. One of the financial experts will speak with you and find out the best way to protect your savings going forward in these uncertain times. You can also click on the link in the description below that goes directly to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Make sure you tell them that Josh Peck at Daily Renegade sent you. It is time to stop trusting the evil beast financial system of the world and protect your assets today.
A divine miracle shook the archaeological world in 1947 when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in the caves of Qumran. A young shepherd boy was throwing rocks into the caves when he heard the sound of breaking pottery. What he discovered would prove that the Bible we hold in our hands today has not been changed over the last 2,000 years, giving us a new appreciation for the Jewish scribes and the Essenes, who painstakingly copied the scriptures for our benefit. Secreted away in these caves were scrolls that contained 38 of the Old Testament's 39 books. The most spectacular discovery was a well-preserved copy of the Isaiah scroll, which contained all 66 chapters of the book of Isaiah, an important book that highlights the qualifications of the Jewish Messiah. Ironically, just 1 year later, Israel was regathered in their ancient homeland, one of the great miracles of modern history. Working together with Ken Johnson, Josh crafted the Essene calendar, the original calendar that God gave to Adam. Over the centuries, this God-ordained calendar was corrupted by Jewish rabbis, with many believing there was a hidden agenda in play, a conspiracy to hide the prophetic qualifications of Jesus as the Jewish Messiah. The Essenes knew when the Messiah was scheduled to arrive. They knew he would be God in human flesh and that he'd be killed to take on the sins of the world. And shockingly, they seem to know the day when God's calendar comes to a close and the 1,000-year millennium begins. This unique, one-of-a-kind calendar can be yours for your gift of $25 or more, with shipping included in the USA. Call our toll-free number 24/7 or visit us online at prophecywatchers.tv. For our international friends, please note that additional shipping fees do apply and all prices listed are in US dollars. From Jubilee cycles to Shemitah cycles and a deep dive into the Jewish feast days, no stone is left unturned. Amazingly, the scrolls tell us that there weren't just 7 Jewish feast days, there were 12. Josh even shares his thoughts on the mysterious disappearance of the Essenes in his 2 books that total almost 800 pages. Forgotten Prophecies of the Dead Sea Scrolls, Book 1 and 2, may represent the most comprehensive studies ever done on the Essenes and their controversial calendar, which has us all wondering, will Jesus return in our lifetime? Get your own personal copies of these 2 books for your gift of $60 or more, and as always, shipping is included in the USA. When you place your order, we'll include a special bonus, a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls calendar that you've heard about today. Call us toll-free at the number you see on your screen and ask about the Forgotten Prophecies calendar package. We invite you to partner with us so we can keep our television program coming into homes all over the world, including almost 2 million homes in Israel. Most of all, we want to introduce the Jewish people to their Messiah, Jesus Christ.
I have just started a Substack. What is a Substack, you might ask? It is a place that contains early access to audio-only podcast versions of full daily Renegade videos, plus my personal blog, which includes original articles, show notes, interview transcripts, and so much more. This is the only place to get this amazing resource, and it is not available to the general public. Adding a subscription to my Substack to your daily Renegade membership will ensure that you have full access to every format of everything that I do. So head on over to joshpeck.substack.com or click on the link in the description below to join up now for only $5 a month or $50 a year. And if you can do it, I suggest doing the $50 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free. So I cannot wait to see you there. Take care and God bless.
All right, so trying a new thing with having the messages in the middle of the video instead of dispersed or instead of whatever. I talked about that in, what would that be, yesterday's video, so I'm not going to rehash it here, but let me know what you think, especially paying members. If you're not paying and you're just trying to troll or just trying to complain about everything, I'm probably not going to read your comment. I want things that are constructive. Okay, so let's continue on with this story. And yeah, like I said, one of these days soon, we'll get Tim Alberino back on, and maybe this is one of the things that we can talk about. So yeah, continuing on here. The effects were immediate and horrific. So where we left off, he said, at one point they launched something. That banner. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. And again, like I mentioned before the break, that's very similar to that MK thing. If you haven't heard that, look into it. There's lots of great channels that have covered it. But it says, the effects were immediate and horrific. He said, quote, we all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was, end quote. The White House did not immediately respond to a question regarding whether Caroline Leavitt's sharing of the post, captioned, stop what you're doing and read this, indicated the administration was verifying the veracity of the eyewitness account. So that's strange. So Caroline Leavitt actually shared the post and captioned it, stop what you're doing and read this. So is that a confirmation? That would seem like something they wouldn't want to do, confirm that they have weapons like that. I don't know if that's what it was. I'm not saying it was. But who knows, maybe. So that's really interesting. Here's a night view of Caracas taken after a series of explosions heard on January 3rd, 2026. An estimated 170 Venezuelan security forces were killed in the January 3rd attack, according to the country's interior ministry. It's unclear if any of those deaths were caused by the mystery weapon. The outmatched defenders were helpless as the small U.S. unit wiped them out, the guard said. Those 20 men, without a single casualty, killed hundreds of us, he claimed. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear I've never seen anything like it. The military has had directed energy weapons, which neutralize targets using focused energy such as microwaves or laser beams for years, but this could be the first time it's been used in combat by the U.S., an ex-U.S. intelligence source told the Post. China reportedly used the microwave weapon in 2020 against Indian soldiers during a border dispute in Ladakh. So maybe this is something that is already kind of known in the public, and maybe that's why they're willing to talk about it more openly. I don't know. This doesn't really say. The source noted that those weapons have capability to produce at least some of the symptoms, including bleeding, inability to move or function, pain and burning. The source said, quote, I can't say all of the symptoms, but yes, some, and we've had versions for decades. Okay, so sounds like they just made something that we already had a lot more powerful, a lot better. But again, if they're willing to be public with that, that makes us wonder, what else do they have that they're not willing to make public? After the raid, said the Maduro loyalist, the message couldn't be more clear, don't tangle with Uncle Sam. He said, quote, I'm sending a warning to anyone who thinks they can fight the United States. They have no idea what they're capable of. After what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They're not to be messed with, end quote. The guard said the raid has already sent shockwaves across Latin America, especially after President Trump recently warned that Mexico is now on the list. He said, quote, everyone is already talking about this. No one wants to go through what we went through. What happened here is going to change a lot of things, not just in Venezuela, but throughout the region, end quote. So yeah, a very, very strange story. It doesn't sound like it's too strange to be true, though. It sounds like what this most likely was an advanced version of something that we already knew existed, which is still interesting. But again, like I said, that just makes you wonder, what else do they have out there? What else do we, as the United States, have that we haven't disclosed, or that isn't just an improved version of things that we already are aware of, but something totally different? Well, as always, I'd like to know what you think. Please leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell to turn on all notifications. Give us a thumbs up, like, share this with everybody. And don't forget to check out dailyrenegade.com, where you can get all these videos and you get early access. So if you were a member of dailyrenegade.com, you would have already had this video days ago. You get early access to everything I post on Daily Renegade first. Sometimes I post multiple videos a day, and then they get released just one at a time on YouTube. Also on YouTube, a lot of times you don't get, like, especially for sharpening reports and things like that, you don't get the full video. You got to go to Daily Renegade for that because of censorship issues. So, as always, again, I'd like to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. And until next time, hope you're having a great day. Take care and God bless.
You know, if you are a Bible-believing Christian who opposes the kingdom of darkness trying to run the world right now, then you are a renegade to the satanic system. We here at Daily Renegade wear that badge proudly. So, if you're a renegade as well, head on over to dailyrenegade.com right now and get a membership today. You'll get our full catalog of Sharpening Report episodes and Daily Renegade update videos on topics such as Bible prophecy, science, technology, the Nephilim, aliens, and so much more. All of our episodes at Daily Renegade Renegade are early access, so as a member, you'll get the videos before anyone else does. Daily Renegade also offers videos not available anywhere else due to social media censorship. We also have a community page only for members where we can all fellowship together without fear of censorship. It's basically the best of Facebook and YouTube rolled into one without any of the garbage. Memberships are only $10 a month or $100 a year, and if you can do it, I suggest getting the $100 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free that way. So come join our family of renegades at dailyrenegade.com right now. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you there.